Podcast. We blew it up.
Got him. I hit him. Down. Oh, I got him. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Mulehorn Gaming Podcast. We have a very special guest with us tonight, and I can't wait for you guys. We'll introduce him here in a second. It's going to be so fun. But for you guys that are joining us for the first time, this is our podcast where we just basically fireside chat, talk about gaming, life, whatever it would be. And we always start the night off with what you're drinking. And I'll start off. I had a late lunch and I had some P. Terry's Dr. Pepper. So
P. Terry's? What is P.
P.
Terry's?
It's a burger joint. It's like you get burgers and shakes. And
we don't have that in Houston, so
it's a local thing. So yeah, it's good.
You Austonians.
Yeah.
Well, as you just heard, I cracked open a Delilah's Into the Darkness Cran Raspberry Sour, 12% alcohol by volume, made in Texas for Texans.
Nice.
Oh my God, and it's so good. If you like sours, this is the thing. Sorry, Clay.
Yeah. No, the man of the hour.
The only thing I ever drink is holy water. Obviously, when I announce on social media I drink holy water, it has to be with a little wink because you know that's definitely not water.
right.
No.
What else is in that water? Yeah.
H2O plus.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I'm gonna go ahead and just get into this because I've been following you, Pope, for I think since I actually got on Twitter. You were one of the first accounts that I found. And I just remember looking at your art that you did with the controllers and the consoles. And I was just like, God, dude, this is such a cool dude. And so I just have been following you ever since then. And man, I just want to say I'm a fan of your work. I can't wait to hear your story. So tell us, who is Pope?
Just going off the back of that for starters, because I get that reaction a lot. Well, for me, I'm just a normal, down to earth guy. I don't class myself as anything special. And I get that reaction all the time, even when I do like meetings with publishers or game developers. They're, oh my God, it's Pope. And I kind of just like go, all right, okay, because like I'm just not that kind of way. Like I'm just not a diva. I'm just one of the lads, just up for a laugh and up for giggles, So I guess who is Pope? I mean, I think Pope's he's the guy on a stage, He's the, if you can imagine a theater, and then he's standing in the center, then seconds later he's at the far end, and then he's at the other end, and he's jumping, and he's so spontaneous. You don't really know what he's going to do, or what he's going to say for that matter. Because
this can get dangerous.
Well, I know where the line is that I can't cross, without. But I'll always push to that line only in a fun, humor way, because I've spent years on social media, years.
Yeah. And
it's all this sort of doom and gloom and negativity, and we're seeing enough of it, man. We're seeing enough of it, So, like, what people don't realize is a lot of people have a lot of shit going on in their personal lives, that like they might not want to announce on like social media, they're just looking for someone to cheer them up or have a laugh with, and again, I guess I kind of made sure I embedded that within Pope, so he's never gonna, pronounce any negativity. He's never gonna sort of spout hate or stuff like that. He'll always just find a happy place, even when you're having a really bad day. You'll kind of, because I do see everything, and I see some people are having a really bad day, so I'll kind of jump in there and just make it slightly, some slight fun. So then at least for 5 seconds of that one day that they're having a bad time, they've had a fun time, you know.
Exactly.
There you go, brother.
And I think all it takes is just little tiny bits like that, you know, to at least say to someone, you know, like, I haven't been forgotten about. You know, someone did pay attention to my cries, you know, and I think the more people do that, you don't have to kind of go over the top and start like, you know,
Yeah.
1 hour counseling, because I'm not a counselor at the end of the day. It's not my job to counsel someone. But um, if I notice things were too bad with it with someone, because I do get them kind of DMs, you know, um, then you know I'll always point them into the sort of professional route, you know, like, you know, you need to phone this number, or you know, speak
Yeah.
kind of group of people, because it did wonders for me. Or I knew a guy who had similar problems and just spoke to this group of people, and hey, I got a message a month later saying, you know, that was the most amazing advice he ever gave us, Pope, you know, like, because like it truly fixed us, you know. Um,
Is
Pope's
that is
is
that kind of what inspired the name
very
Pope?
yeah, because when I was doing all the fan arts, it was always based on the fact that I was doing these out of the goodness of my own heart. And
Yeah.
they always seem to bring joy to people. And oh my God, you know, Pope did this, you know, fan art for me. And so I was never called Pope back in the day, and I just inherited the name from the community. So then it kind of stuck, and then what happened was I was originally called Xbox Pope, because
I recall
obviously
that.
I kind of do a lot on Xbox controllers, and it's not because I love Xbox. It's the fact that it's got such a beautiful canvas. You know, it's so much easier to kind of do art
Yeah.
on the face rather than, you know, the PlayStation. You've only got the like sort of side rails and, you know, that little bit at the top, which it's okay, you know, but it's a struggle sometimes, you know, to make anything look exciting.
Hmm.
Um, so and then I think it was do you know like Ed Boon from Mortal Kombat?
Yes.
And he had reached out. He's like, "Oh my God, this is like the most amazing PlayStation or something I did for Mortal Kombat." And he's like, "But this dude's called Xbox Pope. Like that's weird," you know. And it's like, "Damn, I am doing all this PlayStation stuff, but I'm called Xbox Pope. That's kind of a bit weird, you know."
Yeah.
So I kind of thought, well, what can I change my name to? You know, because everyone knows us as Pope. So then I thought, well, there's there's an art culture called pop art, you know. So that's why you've got the lower e, because I've kind of
Ah,
blended two words together. So it's pop art, and it's also
clever, clever.
Pope art, you know. So that's kind of where. But then I tried to get the name, but then this dude in South Africa who's got like 26 followers has got the like the one that hasn't got anything on the end of it, you know. So I managed to get the underscore, which is kind of nice because it kind of worked for my logo. Um, and I wanted my logo to sort of not be a logo. It was almost like it's signed, so it's you're approved. It's like it's
Nice.
unique. It's different. It's like you finally made the sort of grade, let's say, to receiving a Pope design. You know.
You can see his Twitter
Um,
here.
and I think as well, what you got to remember is everything that I do is exclusive. Like I've had loads of opportunities to kind of mass produce my designs, you know, but I kind of refuse to do it. And it's because I want people to feel like when they've received a Pope design or a controller, it's special to them. You know,
Yep.
it has more attachment, like emotional attachment,
Yeah.
than, oh well, it's just a piece of plastic with a pretty graphic on. You know, it's so that's why I've always restricted myself from mass production. You know, it's and plus a lot of people, you know, refer me to a bit of a almost Banksy. You know, he's he's just unique. He's different. He's, you know, he's almost telling stories rather than doing graphics. And I kind of just sort of fell into that sort of niche by accident, really. I never inspired to be this exclusive kind of controller designer, let's say, it just naturally happened. And luckily I've been quite successful in the realms of people like yourself, or people out there have respected me and give us that luxury of praising me for my work and following me and supporting me. So I've kind of, you guys, really, the community is made Pope, not me, which is extra special. So that's why I work hard for the community. Use the community can mold Pope into whatever they want, really. It's just entirely up to them.
So you're saying you're the people's Pope?
More or less.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Right.
more or less. Almost a bit like the real Pope, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can draw the parallels for sure.
I think people just relate to you too, Pope. I mean, that's like you were saying, man. You're just a everyday guy, and people love that. They love you're approachable, like how you just randomly showed up in one of our streams the other day. Like that was just so fun to see you. As we got
Yeah,
some of your art
did you
here.
see that one the other day? I kind of, because I never really sort of hang around very long in streams, only because I just never have much free time, really.
Yeah.
And I joined this follower's stream, and I just said hi, Dear God, I think she nearly fell off the chair, It's like, oh my God, it's Pope, and she started screaming and kind of going all wild, and I thought, oh my God, like, how do I have this kind of reaction all the time, and it's wonderful, it gives me kind of hope, and it gives
Yeah.
me a reason to continue, what it is that I do, because unfortunately I have my own invisible disabilities, so yeah, I kind of struggle, but
Tell us about that.
not.
How do you do art with that?
Uh, I used to hide my disabilities quite well, and then it wasn't until like a few years ago that I started thinking, well, maybe it's not a disability, maybe it's a superpower, and
Nice.
the reason why I kind of think a lot differently is because I've been given this kind of incredible power for a reason, and that's to kind of inspire people, give people hope, make people just have a look at life in a fun way rather than like because we all get depressed. Even Pope gets depressed. It's just a natural thing to do. But I think if you can find the positives out of whatever it is that you're that's happening in your life, you will get through it. I mean, if you think how many times I've failed to get my work to the level I've got it now, where I can pick and choose however many I want things made now at a higher level. But I had to kind of go on that journey of testing businesses and seeing what their capabilities are, and some did all right, some failed, and unfortunately I get the backlash if things fail. It's like
Right.
Pope's crap, Pope's just a buddy grabber or whatever it is they kind of say, and I think, and to be fair, this business is super difficult. Like you don't make any money at all really on making controllers. It's not an area that you can monopolize on, because by the time you pay the $60 for the controller, then you've got to have someone strip it all down, then you've got to have it all customized, then there's my time for for design time, then there's it just and then whoever's making it, they've got like employees, so they've got wages to pay, and it
Licensing,
kinda,
all that. Yeah.
it all chisels away at and then you've got import and export taxes, so it all eats away at anyone really making any huge profit,
Yeah.
But my fight was always trying to get them as low as possible, but as high a quality as I can, but unless I've got someone like Xbox making, 300,000 of them or 500,000 of them, it's never going to happen, because obviously the more you can produce, the cheaper things are,
Yeah.
So it's always been a battle throughout my journey to bring controllers really to life, but I finally got there. There's some exciting things coming through the guys at Free Mode and Embrace here that I've kind of now joined. So
yeah, we saw those announcements recently, man. That's really amazing. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I mean they're a giant. Like they're a giant within the industry, So what does that mean? It just means I can tap into people like a Gearbox, or I can tap into PlayOn, or I can tap into there's some of their new franchises like Lord of the Rings and
Dang.
Boy.
plus they own a lot of the comics, so you could go into like sort of
You
the
just
realms of,
opened a can of everything.
and they obviously own a lot of all the animes now.
Oh,
so I can produce anime, and so the future for Pope is just gigantic. It's like it's almost I've gone from this little dude who's doing fan arts to this this huge thing where at any moment I could do a design and it could be in stores around the world, and it's industrially huge. It's
Yeah.
like it's people don't realize how big this adventure really is, but it's not really my job to kind of like I'll tease things like that because I've always been a transparent type of guy. I've always done that, and it's not to boast or brag or say, "Look at me, look how cool I am." It's to say to Tina and Derek who are sitting there watching, like, look at Pope, look at him, look at him. And it's like, no, get off your horse, work 7 days a week like I do.
Yep.
365 days of the year. In fact, I do get my birthday off actually, so 364 days.
One day, only one day, Pope.
And work, but also enjoy it. Have fun with it. Don't just treat it as a chore or a cash grab. It's
right.
like you've got to find something. And what I'm trying to say to people is, you can also do this. Like I'm nothing special really. It's just I've dedicated my life,
I would say you are. You are special because there's not many people that would do what you do. Like it takes persistence to do what you do. So
yeah, and it also takes if you think about it, I've succeeded in this industry more or less by myself. So I've earned the respect of Microsoft. In fact, I'm the only person really to be Microsoft certified approved, which I didn't realize, but to get that certificate is like the hardest thing on the planet.
It's pretty massive, man.
It's that difficult to get that certificate.
That is a true Microsoft achievement.
Exactly, like
achievement.
I won't get, because obviously my good friend, Seamus Blackley, the guy who invented X. So I was talking to him about it, and I was because me and him do talk, and I got Seamus, I got this like certificate from Microsoft. He's like, Pope, that's like the hardest thing on the planet to get, man. He says that's like, because he does swear a lot as well. He's like, fucking hell, man, Pope, like that's huge. Like he says, I've got, is it? And he's like, yeah, you fucking idiot. I was like, what?
So it's like the Nobel Prize for the gaming industry.
More or less, and I didn't even
Nice.
realize. I thought it was just like, I don't know. I just thought it was just this like, oh, it just means I could do some work for Microsoft, you know.
Yeah.
So there's loads of stories like that, you know, that kind of go on behind the scenes, and I think as well, you know, within meetings that I have, I always have that kind of same, like, for instance, I've done work with like Warren Buffett, you know, the billionaire,
Yeah.
and I designed his European, one of his
What?
European innovation headquarters over
Are
in,
you serious?
Wow.
yeah,
Dang.
over in Belgium, and it was in Brussels, and so he has this crazy Geordie, you know, like with my accent, and I've got like Italians and all sorts. They go, what language do you speak? And I got like I'm English, man, you know, and the but yeah, I was like hanging out with him and stuff like that. Or I've worked with all the vice presidents and the CEOs of Coca-Cola, and I was like hanging out with them in Canary Wharf in London. Um, I've even
So
designed for the Queen of England before she passed away. You know, I was,
Oh my! You really are the Pope.
you
yeah, I've done honestly, because I've worked with about 200 brands, like, you know,
oh my
all
god.
the fashion houses like Dolce Gabbana and Chanel and all, and Boss, Lacoste. I've kind of been around the block a long time, you know.
Yeah,
I'd say,
I would say so.
in the words of Ron Burgundy, you're kind of a big
Kind of a
deal.
big deal. Does your office smell
Well,
of rich mahogany?
it's
Leather-bound books.
well, what was kind of weird, because in that industry, you know, because I used to do a lot of top secret stuff within the industry for huge people, you know, massive clients like that, you know, and I would meet some of the models and the people who are, you know, doing these ad campaigns, you know, and you think, well, I know him, you know, and I became one of those guys that I would be home, and then I would be like, get a call, and like we need you to go to, I don't know, you need to go to France. And I go, when? Like, this evening. I got like, what?
Oh,
It's
pack
like,
it up.
yeah. It's like, yeah, the clients requested you, they need you. I was like, oh god, you know. So a lot of the stuff I used to do was very spontaneous. You know, it was
Wow.
fly out to a different country, sort some problems out, or create new designs because the client couldn't think of something.
Was that
Um,
stressful for like you and your family? Like just to like randomly, oh, I got to go
no, because
here.
I did it for 20 years, so it's kind of like you just kind of just get used to it, you know. And if the clients always requested you, well, you just did it, you know.
Hmm.
So you've always been a designer? Like it's just
Mhm.
something you've always done? And
Like
so how
about
did you
thir
get into gaming?
about 30 years I've been designing.
Dang.
So I did like from exhibitions to huge and, you know, $1 billion interiors. I've designed huge stores, airport interiors, and then I kind of fell into this industry called innovation design, and I used to do top secret um, facilities where lots of very wealthy businesses would go to experience the brand. So the best way I can describe it is, if you've seen the film Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, how you enter into Willy Wonka's world, and then you kind of go through the chocolate river, and you kind of go through all the different areas. I was doing that for real, but for like huge brands.
Wow.
So
Very
it was
awesome.
very specialized. There was only this very small group of people around the world who had the knowledge and the experience to do that. Because obviously, I spent like 20 years doing design psychology and
Yeah.
shopper insights and consumer insights, and so I know how people think. Like, I know how people shop. I know how people impulse buy,
Yeah.
and I can not. I hate the word using manipulate, but it's easy. It's easier
It's marketing.
to get the thing, but I can literally trick anybody into impulse buy.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of naturally leaked a little bit in the designs that you're looking at now. So what I'm doing is like that zipper, it's going down and it's going into the the D pad, and it's there for a reason, because it's making your eye travel in a certain direction.
Mhm.
It's what it's doing is if you press this D pad, like that zipper will kind of explode, and then whatever's inside's got to kind of like come shooting out. And
Yeah.
so they're not just pictures on a controller. They actually have little stories with inside them,
Yeah.
and
That's definitely one thing I've noticed about your controllers is a lot of your stuff is very intentional. Like it has purpose in the design. It's not just
yes,
like take a picture and make it fit on the controller. No, you have the design, you tell a
like
story
this
with
one,
it.
it's like
It's
I've made
pretty
I've
stinking
put
cool.
the vents there, right? And
Yeah.
I could have put vents anywhere, but that's where the palm of the hand's going to go, so it's acting as a grip. So
Yeah.
it's like, so now you've got control of the controller. You're never going to like slip or slide. It's it's almost like the controller becomes part of you and
Mm.
also part of the game. And not many people can do that because I only design these in like 10 minutes. Like I don't
Dang.
spend all
Wow.
day creating these. It's because the faster I can do it, the more special they are, because it happened organically.
You're right there.
It
That's even crazier to
it
think about.
never happened. Like I didn't force it to happen. I just allowed the design to naturally
So
just appear.
there's a couple of things that I've learned in create like content is that there's architects and there's gardeners when it comes to
Mhm.
creativity. And you seem like you're a gardener. You just like to get in there
Uh,
and just go.
but I've got to see a lot of creatives that fall in this trap of because they always say you have to think out the box, you know. But then when you come to manufacturing or production, you have to kind of then go inside and be technically correct. Like when I used to design interiors around the world, I had to think of like health and safety and fire protection, and whether this thing was going to fall down after a month and kill somebody, or there's a
Right.
lot of risk that you had to kind of design something that would, once it's built, it was going to stand there forever. um, and then obviously you had to start thinking, well, whilst these people are walking through, are they going to keep bashing it, and is the material just going to disintegrate after like a while, and then it has to be replaced and replenished. And then
Mhm.
you think of like the flooring, then you have to think of the lighting, then you have to think of the furnishings, so there's a lot of areas you have to think of within design just to produce that one item. So I kind of guess what I'm quite good at is, and what I always learned is a bit like your analogy there, is you're either a thinker or you're a doer, you know. And luckily for me, I can switch between the two. Like I can shut the technical aspect off
That's
and
cool.
just be like a thinker
Dang.
or a doer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
because not many creatives can do that, because
Yeah.
they fall into this trap of, and when I'm working for likes of clients like this, they'll, and I've got one at the minute. I'm very honored to work for this game that I'm working on at the minute. Obviously, I can't mention what it is because
No.
it's super thing. But
Yeah.
I'll always tell them in the meeting, I went, like, I'm going to give you a design, right? And it's just whatever's come out of my head. But I know for a fact you're going to show your creative director, you're going to show your creative, and they're going to come back. We go, oh, you can't do that with the logo. Oh, you can't twist. Oh, that's not the right pad tone color for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, I know that is, because like I've already studied your brand guidelines. But as a creative, my job is to break all the rules, like every single rule,
I
to
like it.
then be able to create something unique and different.
Mhm.
But what we can do is not totally bring it in so it's on brand guide equity, is just manipulate certain areas so they can be,
Yeah.
otherwise what's the point in hiring Pope? You may as well just do it yourself. You may as well just go
Yeah.
and get your own creative team to do something. Like I think, and it's not me being blasé or do you know who I am? It's the fact that they're so fixated within that industry bubble. Like it's all they know.
It's like they're trapped. Yeah.
Exactly. So they can't think out the box.
Yeah.
Because they're so contained. And
Mhm.
it's not their problem. It's just it's because they eat and breathe what they do every day.
Yeah.
They're locked in. So what my job is to force them not to follow my path, but to make them think differently. To sort of think, well, I know it's wrong, but why is it wrong? Because in my head it's right, and it's because of this, and it's like you showing an image. Why did I turn the McDonald's logo on the side? Why did I actually not put it
like
right?
that one. Yeah.
Because that's breaking brand guidelines, you see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But guess what? If I
It
put
looks
that
really cool.
the right way, it'll just look like symmetrical and boring.
Yeah.
But just me tilting it 45 degrees has now made it feel like it's exciting. It feels like it's moving. It feels
Yeah.
like it's
Yep.
wanting to do something. And all I've
Yeah.
done is I've broke the brand guidelines by turning the logo 45 degrees. It's just tiny little things like that. But in their heads, they'll not approve that because it's against brand guidelines. It's crazy once you get deep into the industry.
I love it. Yeah. Well, we have a question for you too, Pope. One of them in the stream was, are we able to purchase any of the art or the controllers?
What I've always done, even right from the start, and I see other controller people do this, but I kind of created this where I'm happy to do things like this. They create them as visual fan arts, but I would never go against the licensing people or the publisher or the game developer by going behind the back and making something that I know it'll either get me blacklisted or it might, they're not going to sort of sue us, but they're going to knock on my door and tell us off,
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to also respect your boundaries, like other people's boundaries. So what happens generally is because everyone loves my designs anyways, they'll end up knocking on my door wanting it anyway. It's so I haven't. Why would I want to upset them initially by going behind their back when I know for a fact they're just going to knock on my door anyway? So the answer is some stuff. Yeah, I'm happy to make, but there's other stuff that all you're going to really get is the images that you're seeing. Because of that reason, I have to respect other people.
Servant has this question for you. He says, most custom controllers feel like controllers with art on them, and these feel like art that can be used as a controller.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll look at some designs that I've done, and I'll go, "Fucking hell, that is actually quite good at it." Because
that's too shabby.
Because actually, you might know yourself being like a creative guy is you actually do become blind to your own work.
Yeah,
like you really do. It's funny. I'll tell you this little trick, right? Like when you see something on the screen, you think, "Oh, that looks great, doesn't it?" But have you ever printed it out? And it's not until you print it out you go, "Oh God, there's a mistake there. There's a mistake there." It's weird how like sometimes you just don't notice things on screen, and there's sometimes I've done like designs because I do them so fast, and then I post them out. People go, "No, you've got the button the wrong way. You've got this the wrong way." I go, "Oh shit, I have that." It's like, how did I not see it? Just totally didn't see it. But it's always fun playing with the hardcore gamers, because sometimes I'll do stuff and I know it's going to wind them up, you know, because
Yeah.
I've done something where it's no, because like Master Chief wouldn't do that because back in such a, you know, they go through the
Such and
history
such
of
book, or yeah.
it's like he wears this logo, you know, and like and I go, mate, like I did it in 10 minutes, man. Give us a break, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I would probably give my one of my kidneys for this Star Wars one because I mean Star Wars, and this R2 one is just, I love it, man.
and the thing
Do
is,
you need both kidneys?
I used to have, I would have like the guys at certain people at Xbox, let's say. I won't mention names, but they go, Tom, like your designs are Pope, your designs are amazing, but guess what? Like they're impossible to make, you know. And I go, well, like what makes them impossible to make? Well, so me making stuff in the past has kind of proved that fact wrong. Because like if I can do it and I'm just one dude, like surely $1 million company. And then I've always
Yeah.
went back. I've always went back to people who say things are impossible with like it's only impossible because the solution hasn't been invented yet. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like if it's impossible to make them, like let's find a way to make them. You know, let's invent a new machine, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose, you know, did they say it was too difficult to go to the moon, you know? Like, guess what? Someone achieved it.
Right.
I mean, you sound a lot when you say that. I've watched so many interviews, but you sound so much like George Lucas to me when he was making the original trilogy. Like one of the things he said is like they didn't know how to do the things he wanted to do, so they just figured it out as they went. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched Industrial Light and Sound, but it's fantastic. It's just
Mhm.
like they go over a lot of the things that you talk about, like you're just making the impossible possible, thinking outside the box. Like it's just really
And,
cool.
and sometimes that's a lazy person's attitude to because it's easy to say words, right? But if you looked at something, and I'm referring this to anyone in this chat or anyone who sees this at a later date, it's if you really feel in your heart that something can be done, or you know, there's got to be a way to do it. There's got to be.
Yeah.
Then go for it, you know, because if you listen to all those people that tell you that you can't do something or you can't have this or you can't achieve this, you'll just sit there in your armchair all day watching TV, you know, like just do it. Like
Yeah.
I think is it Walt Disney? I think he had like 8 bankruptcies or something, or he's failed so many times, you know, and like look what he's achieved, you know,
Yeah.
he's got one of the biggest theme parks in the world, you know. If you just kept saying, right, I failed once and then that's it, like, oh, that's it, I'll give up, then, you know, like if you think I've failed 4 times up to now with PopeArt, but I just kept chiseling, I kept knocking on the door. And even if you knock on someone's door and they go, no, yeah, all right, just give it a day or two, knock again, you know,
There you go.
or give it a week later, or just say, because guess what? It might be a different person that answers the door,
Yeah.
you know. So sometimes it's not always about the just because that person that that first let you down doesn't mean someone within that same team just has got this little eye that just sees something within yourself. It's like you've got potential. You like you. This I don't know what it is, but there's something about you that I think you could do. You know, and it might be just because the other person was too busy and they never noticed. You know, it was. So never give up. Never give up knocking on doors.
Love it, man.
Yeah. So tell me how Pope became Pope the Gamer. I want to hear that.
Oh, the controllers, or as in a gamer,
Just as a
as in.
gamer. Yeah, because
I mean, I started back in the ZX Spectrum days, me. Where you had your kind of tape recorder that would go you know, make that and squeaky high pitched noise, you know, and then I don't know, you had enough time to go for some food, make a cup of tea, maybe just go for a walk, and then come back and your game might be loaded. You know, or it might you just go, oh shit, it's crashed. You know, it's like, so you'd have to go through the whole process again. You know, but and then I kind of drifted into the Commodore area, and then and then obviously the Amiga days. But my first ever console would have to be, I think in the UK it was the Sega Mega Drive, but I think for you guys is it the Genesis? I think it was.
Sega Genesis. Yep.
Yeah.
And
So
then Sega CD.
guess what? I never went to Nintendo. You know, I just
Really?
I just couldn't do it. Not because it was just the fact that I just love that sort of Sega route, you know, and then I just sort of then I got into the realms of PC, and that was it. Bad move, because like I was just like, holy crap, look at this! All the things I could do with like a PC, you know. I remember having dial up, like internet.
Oh yes,
the old AOL days.
It was cool because I was like the first ever like. Was like one of these online chat things. AOL, I think it was, wasn't it?
Instant Messenger, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, and I remember chatting to someone in Australia or something. It was like, fucking hell, it's Australia, you know? Like, this is cool, you know? And you'd be like up all night just like chatting rubbish, you know? Like, are you sure you're in Australia? Like, yeah, I'm in Australia. And then obviously, you know, and that was it. And then I stopped gaming for a while because obviously I had a family. And I remember my son was like old enough to kind of game, you know. So I went to a store, and then the game stores were normally laid out as PlayStation one side, Xbox the other. It was like that's just how it was, you know. And then
a big divide.
Couple of little titles in the middle of something, and T-shirts or merch or something, you know. So I just says to him like, which one do you want? Do you want a PlayStation? Do you want an Xbox? And he chose Xbox. So then that's why we just sort of dabbled so much with Xbox, really.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that was about only to say. I've had PlayStations and that as well, but we've always sort of really been quite more dominantly Xbox, just because it's just been easier for us. We had gained friends, we gained, you know, like a community, and that was the only reason, really. It wasn't.
Well, it's like you said, it's a bigger canvas to design on, you know.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
Even it's weird because loads of people ask us to do elites, and I refuse to do them only for one reason. It's the fact if I ever got them made, they're always breaking down, you know.
Yes,
So
sadly,
it's like, could you imagine like, oh, pull up like the controllers, bro, but I'm still under warranty. Can you fix? Oh, you know. So like, I've then got to like
have a whole division.
I've then got to like get it replaced, and it's just a right mess.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the only reason. I don't mind doing a couple of fan arts, but getting them made I just refuse to do it, you know.
Yeah.
See, his bumper's broke.
Yeah.
Come on. In fact, on my camera there, I've got well, see if I can quickly spin my camera now. So
let's see this.
So I've got like, you know, I've got elites there. I've got the gear, the halo, the gear. You can already see the gears there.
Yeah.
I've got elites there. You know, I've got elites at the back there. I've got controllers down there. I've got controllers down here. You know, it's like my house is just, and then I've got another room full of controllers. I've got controllers in the loft.
Yeah.
And it's so I've got like about 8. I think I've got 8 elite controllers. And it's because the bumpers are break, or the rubber grips fell off.
I get stick drift on my left stick all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's so do you know what I use? I just use a normal controller now.
Yeah.
Don't even use an elite.
Yep.
I'm so sweaty and shooters. I have to have the paddle, so I gotta have them, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this did you see the new sort of product I've been working on, the Nitro deck? by
Yes, I was gonna let me bring that up because that was actually on Summer Games Fest, right?
Sure was.
Yeah, it was part of the. So
Let's see if
what
I
we
can-
did is we had a one of my partners, Jack, he had an interview with IGN, and so the idea is, and this is kind of probably going to sound a bit like wacky, but the so the handhelds and it's ergonomically like amazing to hold, and it's one of the very first with zero stick drift. So it doesn't matter what you do, it'll never stick drift. And so what you do is you put your switch screen inside. So it almost turns your switch into almost a Steam Deck looking thing, but the other beauty is now they've got Pope is exclusive ranges, like super high end exclusive kind of designs that and because it's linked to an app, you see the kind of little device on the back there.
Yeah.
Once you scan that, because because there's technology within the device, it'll instantly tell you what number you are. So you could buy one and you might be number one of 100. So that's it. It's like there's only ever 100 made.
Dang.
So you're the owner of number one, or someone down the road might be the owner of number 4.
Definitely adds the collector level up there.
So
People love to know the rarities.
So and if you're number one, you might be actually at a plat level. And the more you collect, obviously, the more rewarded, let's say, or that kind of rarity within your design becomes. So, I kind of guess it almost makes the design where I mean I don't know the technicalities. I'm just sort of speaking out aloud here between like us in the chat. Like, if you had a rare design, I guess the resale of that design could be quite high, down the line. So it's almost like you're inheriting something that could be worth something later down the line, I guess. A bit like when you see the old retro controllers and stuff like that, and, they go for quite a bit of money sometimes. If you've got like a rare Nintendo Switch color, or so that IGM one there, that is only one of one, so that'll never ever be repeated.
That's crazy.
Basically, that guy owns that one of one, and he's got the app to prove it, and so he's almost been certified as only ever owning the one of one. So if I did you a design and sent you it, you would be one of one of that design.
That's nuts, dude.
So that's the other sort of beauty of what we're doing.
That is awesome.
That is
so
cool.
we've got a lot going on with Nitro Deck, so I'm really excited. And then obviously there's going to be a time where there's going to be only Pope exclusive ranges, or only designs that might be 1 of 10, and they're officially got that sort of stamp of approval by Pope.
The gamer collector's dream.
Exactly. So, and I think I also quite like the idea. I had this partnership, I probably still have, I guess, with GameStop, where they wanted Pope designs in all their GameStop stores, and the idea was a GameStop in like Texas might only have a certain Pope design in it, so you couldn't get it in any other state, just in there. And then there might be a GameStop in, I don't know, New York or something, and it would only be exclusive to that store. So there was all talks like that, and it was the Pope brand is super powerful. You know, it's got that that recognition of exclusivity, that rarity, that sort of feeling that. And I am working on with a very, very big name, huge.
I mean,
giant.
bigger than the Queen of England.
Yeah. And we're gonna do something super exciting in 4 countries. So Pope's only going to be exclusive in 4 countries.
Whoa.
With this mega challenge of like, and we're going to make you work hard, like, to get a design. Like, you're not just going to be able to pick up, like, you're not going to be able to pick up this design. You're going to have to work hard to get a Pope controller, you know.
I sense a challenge.
In this playfulness, you know, if you think about it, that's what the Pope brand's made of. You know, it's you don't know what he's going to do, you don't know what he's going to say, but what he's going to do is make you smile. You know, he's always going to make you smile, because that's kind of what he does. So my job is to, in these 4 countries, to make someone's day feel very special, you know, or and that's all it'll do. Is as long as I know that reaction at the end of it is that big smile, then I know I've achieved my goal.
So,
you know,
you need to be stalking your Twitter and your Instagram. Is that what you're saying?
Honestly, it blows my mind, because loads of people say, "Pope, how like you not got like 1 million followers or something?" And I was like, God, I don't know. Like, it's like, sometimes I think, I even had some guy once, right? He was like, I don't know. He was like, you work in like one of the toughest prisons in the world or something, and I think so. He's like, you know, he's with like tough guys, you know, like tougher, way tougher than me. And he's like, Pope. I was like, yeah. He's like, it's took us 3 weeks to talk to you. And I was like, all right, why did I not reach out? And he's like, no, I needed the courage to talk to you because like, you're Pope.
Yeah.
I was like, shut up. Why do you work with like some of the hardest men in the world? You know, like, what, you're scared of me? I was like, no, I says, just talk to us anytime, man. It's like, if I don't reach out straight away, it's because like, I don't know, I'm in a meeting or something, or you know, I don't know, on the toilet, on the toilet or something, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
well, if you're on the toilet, you might be like,
hey, most of my best tweets come from the toilet, I tell you.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things, you know. I'll try and reach out. And the way I kind of describe it, I did describe it briefly in Twitter World yesterday, is I'm technically a brand, right? And I'm very big global brand now, you know, and I should really be a lot more, you know, reserved, like a lot more like, don't speak to this, like, just don't speak, you know, like, or don't communicate anymore, because like, you might tarnish your brand or something, you know, or you might think. But the way I describe it is, I'm like the shopkeeper in the store. So it's like, you all right? How's it going? What can I help you with? Or, you know, it's like, hey, how, you know, I heard about Dorothy last week. Is she doing okay? You know, it's like, you know, it's just that love to be one-to-one with people, you know, and talk and just be where sometimes I know people's business, because like I found out about a week ago that, you know, like, unfortunately, that one of their family members passed away. So I'll reach out like 2-3 weeks later and go, oh, how are you okay? Are you still managing all right? You know, or how's this and how's that? And I think because Pope has a very sort of that kind of looked up stature, you know, people look up to him, the type thing. I think it's more important that I do reach out on a one-to-one, because then it gives people hope, it gives people encouragement to just get back on their feet, you know, especially because we all know what it's like when times are bad, you know. The best solution is hide in your bed or something, you know, or just lay on the couch and drown your sorrows a bit, you know. Well, listen, man, come on, let's get out. Let's get some fresh air. Let's get things moving again, you know. Let's get you back on your feet.
We need more people like that, honestly. We need more people like you, yourself, and brands like that in the world. Like, because there's just so much, like, man, it's just like, it gets overwhelming. And just one little word of encouragement can keep you going for 20 years, you know?
Oh, huge. I
Yeah.
mean, one of the biggest problems I have is I'll get loads of people whinging, well, I'll say whinging, crying, I should say. You unfollowed us, Pope. Why? You know, and it's like, listen, I can't follow everybody. You know,
Yeah.
if I followed everybody, Jesus, could you imagine the chaos of my social? You know, I'm like, so I have to kind of keep my numbers quite low, and it's not me being any like a diva or anything, or being anything special. It's just I can't exceed a certain number because,
It's
Jesus,
too much.
my mental health would just go.
Yep.
You know, it's like, so I have to kind of be selective in an aspect, and it's no disrespect to anyone because everyone's lovely. Yeah, everyone's special, especially to me. It's just I can't because I tried it once before and I had to
It's
end
too
up having
much.
I had to have a social media break, man, because like it drove us mad. You know,
Well,
when you
you
say
just see
everyone's
everything.
you were just
Yeah.
seeing too many people's problems or too many people's situations, and I was trying to like absorb them into my own. I was like, it's not even my problem, but I feel like really bad, you know,
Feel
like
like
what the,
crap. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you know, so I had to kind of pull back just for my own sanity, really. And so I always tell people, look, don't obsess over followers, man. Like you say, I should be like 1 million followers, but I haven't, but I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like my brand's in every store around the world. So like, do I really need big social media numbers? Well, no, not really. But I'm lucky enough to have those. But you don't need to follow Pope to communicate with him. You can just reach out, just chat. You know, let's
Yeah.
talk about, I don't know, talk about the weather or something, or
Talk
tell us
about
about,
Pope water.
yeah, like I think that's a problem, especially with Twitter, is that they think that they're so. A lot of people think you've got to follow these certain rules, you know. So if you talk to someone, you've got to follow them, or they've got to follow you back. And if they unfollow you, like it's because they hate you. And it's like, what, like me, like one, I don't hate you. It's just like,
Too
do you know, like
much. Yeah.
sometimes as well, how I describe it to people, because I think they obsess over it a little bit, is, could you imagine if you're walking down a road, right, a street, and you just went to this first store, like the first bar, and you hung out with like a group of people for like, I don't know, 2 years, and then they just continued for the next 10 years drinking in that bar. But like at the 5th year, you went, nowadays I'm going to try a different bar. I'm kind of bored. I'm just going to move on and try the one up the road, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of just a little bit like that. It's not like you just want to change the scenery, you know? You just want to try, see what else is out there, you know? You just want to, and what people need to remember is all life is about experiences. That's all it is. It's how many experiences you can fit in your 80 years that you might live, or your 70 years, or your
Yep.
60 years. You know, that's all it is. It's like, so the more you fixate on one thing and stay there for like a huge length of time, that's all you've got to remember. Like, that's all you've like achieved within your 70 years of life. But if you kind of do what I do, which is, I'm over here 1 minute, then I'm up here, there, then I'm down here, then I'm doing this, then I'm doing, you know, like what I'm doing is I'm just filling my life up, that when I get to the age of 70 and I say to my son, yeah, you know, like I've just told you there, I work with Warren Buffett, I've worked with Sir Richard Branson, I've designed for the Queen, I've done this, I've done that. Like,
Yeah.
I've done so many things. And it's because I got off my butt and just went, do you know what it is? I'm going to do this today. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it, you know, like,
Exactly.
and then you kind of go to the next part of the journey, and you know, you just think, it's funny. I was watching. I don't know if you've seen it, the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing on Netflix at the minute. So
I have not watched that one yet.
I was watching
Yeah.
it last night. But if you watch it and you listen to his kind of life story, and the only reason why he's kind of changed role is just you just got bored. You know, it's just like I got bored, so I just did this, and then I got bored of that, so I just fucking did this. You know, like that's all it is. It's just people.
I think too, you need a challenge. You know, like someone like yourself, you're creative, you're learning, you're a learning animal. So it's like you just sometimes you just get bored, and you're like, I need to push myself somewhere else. You know.
Plus, my head is like. Because obviously my disabilities, it's like I was thinking about how to best describe it, and it was like, do you know, like in the end game where Doctor Strange is like, and like, yeah, I know how it's going to end, and it's like, hang on a minute, that just like took you 2 seconds, but you went through all them combinations, you know.
Yeah,
that's kind of how my head designs. So if you said, right, Tom, or Pope, can you do a Doom controller? Like in my head, I've done like 50 designs already, like within that short time. So I know what works and what doesn't, because like I've already created all these designs in my head in that second. But I think a lot of that as well comes down to the 30 years of experience, you know, like because I know what's going to fail, and I know like might be all right. Let's test the waters. Let's see. So yeah, Pope's a strange character.
No, this has been really, really interesting. I creatives to me are so interesting because they're so unique, and so I just love hearing your story and hearing, you know, kind of how you are, and it makes me happy to know there's more people like you in the world who have like the brand that you do, the following you do, and your concern is to lift others up as well. And so it's just like
I mean, loads of times I've thought, you know what it is, I'm just gonna get rid of the whole thing. Like I'm just gonna delete Pope and delete everything because I'm sick of yous all. Yous are wound us up. But then someone just comes along and then you just go, oh, I can't leave because this person needs help now. You know, it's like, I think a lot of people as well, they think that what they don't see about Pope is the stuff I do secretly to help people.
yes,
like I help homeless kids. I help, you know, I do like the food banks, and at Christmas time we buy all the kids toys for Christmas who aren't going to get anything, and we do loads. I do quite a lot of charity stuff, but I'm always anonymous. I'm not after the gold badge, if you know what I mean. It's this is kind of me doing something that is personal to me, because in my past I experienced like that side of life where poverty and being very deprived of things. So for me, it's almost like I'm paying back.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I'm like that hurt that I had to tolerate for so many years. I'm fixing it because I feel like I'm fixing it by making somebody else's life much better. You know. At the end of the day, I'm just going to die and be buried in the ground anyway. So what am I going to do with it? You know, like I may as well make somebody else's life happier.
Leave a bit of a legacy behind as well.
And legacy, you talk about that. You know, I think these type of people never forget you. Doesn't matter what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because you've given them like $1,000 or something like that. It's the fact what you've done has made. It's almost like being kicked to the floor, and everyone keeps kicking you, but then someone's come along and went, right, leave them alone, guys. Right, come on, come with me. We're going to go for a little walk down here, and what I'm going to do is, but then the same day they'll never see me ever again, and my job was never to help them to forever. It was just to get them up,
get them started.
Just get them started, and that's kind of, I do a lot of that where I'll just give people little nudges on the right path. Like, go on, get on that path. Once you get to the end, you'll be all right. I'm telling you, because I already know what the outcome is going to be because I've already experienced that kind of life. And
Yeah.
But they haven't experienced it yet, so that's how I know they're going to be okay, you know. So I think sometimes it's important, if you have a life experience and someone out there, you recognize someone out there is having that similar thing that you went through, don't be scared just to give them a little nudge. You don't have to be you don't have to be a lecturer, you don't have to be a counselor, you don't have to guide them all the way to the end. You just got to give them a little nudge, and then away they go. And I guarantee, and I still get this day, you'll get a little message with a thank you from them. You'll not get the thank you on day one. You'll get it once they reach the end. Because I get DMs all the time of like, you know, like, Pope, sorry to bother you, I know you're busy. Everyone thinks I'm busy. I am busy, but like everyone starts off the conversation with like, "Hi, Pope, I know you're busy." And I go, "Yeah, what's happening? Do you remember when you told us something like 4 months ago?" And I was like, "No," because one thing I don't do is I don't keep my DMs. Like, I'm not one of these things that refers to someone like, "Oh, but you said this in 2012," because I've got it here. I've got it screenshot. I'm like, that I just delete my DMs straight away, me. And I go, no, now what happened? Like, he says, well, you just said something to us, and honestly, this, like, it changed my life. Like, I can't believe how amazing my life is now. I was like, really? It's like, what did I say?
Must have been profound.
I was like, shh, God, I'm glad it worked out. I hope I didn't say something to make it go the other way.
Right.
You know, so it's just strange. And I think, like you say, if there's more people out there who can just take notice of people rather than being too self-centered about themselves or too worried about their own life, just share a little bit, you know. Just, it doesn't take long to do, you know, and you don't even need to spend any money. You know, it's not coming out your pocket. It's just words.
That's true.
Courage.
You know, words are always free, you know. So I think just little things like that. So no, I'm excited. I've you know, been on some crazy design journeys. I've worked with celebrities and superstars and designed in so many different countries around the world. I think, you know, when you get to my age, nearly that 50 mark, you stop wanting to not learn, but you just constantly want to give.
Yeah.
You can't help it. It's like, it's so natural. Like, I don't even think about what I'm doing half the time. You just have this, like, it's almost like your body clock changing. Like, your body changes to become
the wisdom you've gained over the years.
Yep.
Like, you feel like you need to give it, like, what you've learned, like, back out.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how it works. So I think it most of, like, what my social feed it's about that.
Yeah.
Like, what I'll do, because obviously I've had the 20 years of psychology, is, without me saying directly what to do, I'll twist the words or the meaning, so then they can figure it out themselves. But what I'm doing is I've entered their subconscious mind. I've deliberately planted a seed within their subconscious, that, and they'll not know that I've done that until a little bit down the line, when they'll come back and go, "Pope, you said something to me, and it changed my life. What did you do?" And I just say, "Oh, it's because I subconsciously planted a seed that I knew was going to cause trigger points." And we used to do a lot of this in the shop I retail. You know, when you first go into a store, I would subconsciously cause trigger points within the store that would force you to go down a certain aisle or be interested in a certain product. And it was because I was using certain subconscious techniques that were tricking you into buying a brand or being immersed in something that you didn't even, because I know every shopper is going in for essentials. So I know you're going for bread and milk. like I know for a fact. Why? Because the shelf span is so small. You know, because milk and bread only lasts for so long before it goes moldy. You know, so
Right.
straight away I know the certain time scale that you're going to revisit a store. And other techniques we used to do was change the store around. So we used to move aisles, and it was to force you to go into a certain aisle that you thought was like, I don't know, like the snack aisle or something, you know, but now it's something else. So we used to use a lot of techniques to other little techniques would do is or I would do is say you had a product and it was like it was only like $20, but how do you make that $20 item feel like $100 or $200? And it's about placement. That's all it is. It's if you place it next to a Rolls Royce, let's say, and took the price tag off, instantly in your mind
Psychologically,
you would say, "Fuck, that watch must be like mega. I can't afford that watch. I bet it's dead. I bet it's like $2,000 or something. I bet you." But it's not. It's a $20 watch. It's just I've placed it next to something that you, in your
gave it
mind,
value. Yeah,
know that it's expensive. And we used to do a lot of. I mean, it's easy for me just to use the word. It's like dummy terms. So we used to use a lot of manipulation or tricks or just to kind of, without sort of breaking, you know, the law or something, or forcing, you know, false advertisement or stuff like that. But do you know what I mean? It's easy for me to dummify the process, so then the normal kind of people can, like, who don't understand, like, how the
make it easily
subconscious.
translate. Yeah.
Yeah, so people who don't understand how to, you know, infiltrate the subconscious, let's say, without this hypnotizing you.
I know that, like, I've really appreciated you on Twitter and just your art, and I know a lot of the people that will listen to this podcast, or some of the people that have watched it live, that they're going to appreciate your insight. I mean, I know you've made an even bigger fan for me. I don't know about Thaddeus, but
I can't. I'm out. I'm done.
So
no.
Go
Go ahead. After you're done, I guess.
No, go ahead.
I'll say, after you explaining about how you made trigger points in the retail stores and how you broke down the way you do things, the way you do, you can now see and understand more of why your designs are the way they are. They're very intentional. You know what the consumer, you know what the company and even the consumer needs, kind of more than they know themselves. And that's why they're like, come around knocking on your door later on. And man, that just makes me appreciate what you do so much more, because you're grounded. You are a real person. You're not like ego driven at all, but you just make exceptionally great art, and it's all intentional. And that makes me respect what you do and yourself a lot more.
No, it's funny you say exactly that. It's like I'll not manipulate people for the bad or the evil. It all has a end goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I already know what the end goal is, because I'm so experienced. I'm so technically wizardry in my head. Why? Because I've worked with some of the best business and cleverest people in the world. I've absorbed every technique possible that's used in shopper retail or consumer insights, blah blah blah. But I do it in such a way that I'm not being like, look at me, you know, like I'm the smart ass here, you know, I'm the clever guy, so you must listen to me. I'll just go, yeah, no worries. Just like, if I'm in meetings, like I've had some of the biggest, powerful meetings, I'll just sit and observe. I'll not even talk. And it's because I already know what the outcome is. And it's because, and then at the end, then I'll voice my concerns, or and it's another form of a psychological trick. Like, if I want you to listen, like if I want you to really listen to me, what I'll do is say, so if your name was Ian, I'll go, so Ian, what I'm going to talk to you about is like how we can get this product. So Ian, if I put this thing in the thing, do you know what I'm saying, Ian? So what I'm constantly doing is I'm constantly saying the word Ian. I'm constantly saying your name mixed in with other words. And what I'm doing is I'm hitting your subconscious. So I'm actually forcing this information into your head because I'm constantly saying your name.
Reinforce it, yeah.
And what I'm doing is I'm locking it in. And
you should read this. I think you would love it because
what
what
is it?
you're doing, it's Donald Miller, Build a Story Brand. You're doing exactly what he says, which is like there's 4 typical architects or people in stories. It's the hero, the victim, the villain, and the guide. And what
Yeah.
you do, what I'm seeing now, even as we kind of talk through what you do, is that you definitely make the customer or the people who appreciate your art the hero, and
Yeah.
you're the guide. You're guiding them.
And do you know that there's only 4 shoppers in the world? So everyone falls into these 4 shopper types. Doesn't matter who you are. And that's so what we used to call them is like we used to give them sort of names, so like Simplistic Sue. So Simplistic Sue is a shopper who just wants bread and milk. They need to get in there because they need to get out, So they're quite, they know what they want and they know what they need. How do I make them impulse buy? How do I make them buy a tube of Pringles?
Yeah.
And then you've got your sort of bargain shopper, so they're into like bog offs, like buy one get one frees, or they want more than just the product that they're buying. They want to feel like they're getting something else. Then you've got your tech savvies who they'll just buy it because it's brand new. It's like I've got to be the first to get it because like this is cool, this is new, and and what you're doing is once you know what the 4 shopper types are, is you can just manipulate your marketing, your consumer sort of paths, let's say, to force your product or your brand to kind of sell in different ways. That's having connection issues. Oh, we're back.
Yeah, you're good here.
So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've really appreciated you taking time to talk to us. And I kind of want to wrap us up here. But before we do, I want to ask you, Pope, do you have any like final thoughts you want to share with the listeners, or any words of wisdom or any encouragement or anything you want to say to these people who follow your brand or have worked with you?
Just be you. And just enjoy life. It's honestly, life is so simple. It's unbelievable. Once you know, just being you is what it's all about.
Yep. Yep. Well, Pope, we appreciate it, man. It was such an honor just to kind of chat with you, pick your brain, hear your story, find out about how you kind of approach art and life and people, man.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I mean, let's do a V2, Pope V2.
Yes. We'll have to catch it up again. Yeah.
Maybe next time we'll talk about games or something, like
maybe we can do something a little like, I don't know. We'll see. What's the next big expo? I guess tomorrow,
maybe it's not like boring Pope, like, I mean, I know it was just, I mean, I'm only just skirted briefly about.
We can call it the Chronicles of Pope. We don't know when it's going to end.
But the thing is, what I'm trying to do is just feed enough information that maybe it might inspire someone to just sort of get up off their ass and get moving, But don't this weekend though. Enjoy weekend. Spend family time,
Yeah, I think Thaddeus just gave us the podcast title for this episode, The Chronicles of Pope. So
told you I could talk on the water.
Yeah. Well, hey guys they're watching this live, I really appreciate you. All you guys that are watching us or listening to us anywhere else, thank you for watching us. Make sure you go and follow Pope. I'll put it in the podcast notes. Great guy, great dude. I love hearing your story. But as we always say, when in doubt, blow it up, baby.
Blow it up.